All right, let's jump right in. Today, we are going to tackle a huge headache in software testing. I'm talking about one of the most frustrating, time-wasting problems out there. And we're going to see how AI can step in and play the role of a super smart detective to crack the case.
So let me start by asking you a question. Picture this. You're a developer, you run your tests, and one of them fails. It's a bummer for sure, but hey, at least you know there's a bug to fix. But what could possibly be worse than a test that consistently fails? And the answer is right here. A test that you just can't trust. A test that's constantly crying wolf. You know, when your tests start to lie to you, that whole safety net you've built just completely falls apart. And that, right there, is where our story really begins.
This brings us right to the heart of the issue, what we call the flaky test problem. And trust me, it's like a silent killer of productivity and, maybe more importantly, of confidence in the whole development process.
So what exactly is a flaky test? Well, to put it simply, it's a test that, for no obvious reason, will pass 1 minute, then fail the next. And then just to mess with you, it'll pass again. And all of this is happening without a single change to the actual code. It's totally, maddeningly unpredictable.
And why is this such a big deal? Well, the fallout is actually pretty severe. Your developers, they start to just ignore test failures. They'll say, oh, it's probably just that flaky test again. This wastes countless hours chasing down false alarms, it grinds your whole delivery pipeline to a halt, and here's the really scary part, it can actually hide real bugs.
Now, this is a really crucial point. We have to understand the difference between a test that's flaky and one that is truly broken. They are absolutely not the same thing.
I absolutely love this analogy because it just makes it so clear. A test that fails every single time, that's like a broken clock. It's always wrong, sure, but at least it's consistent. You know exactly where you stand. It's reliably pointing to a real problem. But a flaky test, well, that's like a clock that only works now and then. You can never, ever trust what it's telling you.
And this chart just breaks it down perfectly. On one side, you have the flaky test. It's intermittent, it comes and goes. The cause is usually something external, like a network hiccup or a timing issue. On the other side, you've got the consistent failure. It's predictable, it fails every time, and that's almost always because of a real bug in the code. So your marching orders are totally different. For flaky, you investigate the test itself. For consistent failure, you go file a bug report.
So, if these flaky tests are so slippery and hard to pin down, how do you catch them? Well, this is where our AI detective enters the scene.
Think about the old way of doing this. It's a total nightmare. It means some poor human has to sit there and just painstakingly comb through log file after log file, run after run, just trying to spot a pattern. It's slow, it's mind-numbing, and it is so easy to miss something.
But this kind of work, this is exactly what AI was built for. It can process massive volumes of data. We're talking dozens, even hundreds of log files all at once. It's specifically designed to spot those subtle, intermittent patterns that a human being would almost certainly overlook. Okay, enough talk. Let's actually see this thing in action. We're going to walk through a real-world case where we gave an AI 5 test logs from 5 consecutive builds and basically said, go crack the case. Okay, so here's the evidence for a test called test_network timeout. Just look at that pattern. Pass, fail, pass, fail, pass. I mean, that is the textbook signature of a flaky test. Now, a person could probably find this, sure, but imagine trying to spot this one pattern when it's buried in a sea of hundreds of other test results. We can even put a number to it. This test failed 2 out of 5 times. That gives it a flakiness rate of 40%. And putting a concrete number on it like that really helps teams prioritize what they need to go fix first. And this is the payoff. This is what the AI reported back, and it did it almost instantly. It didn't just correctly identify test_network timeout as being flaky, it also diagnosed the likely cause, pointing to that alternating pattern and suggesting it was probably intermittent network issues. That's not just data, folks. That's actual insight.
But here's what makes the AI truly intelligent. It's what it didn't flag. It also looked at another test, test_phone_number_format, which failed every single time. The AI didn't call that one flaky. It correctly identified it as a consistent failure, pointing to a real bug. And that distinction is absolutely critical. So the AI has done its detective work. It has separated the false alarms from the real fires. What's next? Well, the next logical step is turning that diagnosis into real, concrete action.
With the AI's report in hand, a QA team can now move forward with confidence. So first, they triage. Is it flaky or is it broken? Well, the AI already told them. Second, they isolate the root cause for that flaky test. Is it the network, a weird timing issue? And then finally, they implement the right fix. Maybe they increase a timeout. Maybe they add a retry. Or, for that consistent failure, they go fix the actual bug.
So let's boil all this down. What are the big takeaways here? First, flaky tests are not the same as broken tests. Second, AI is an incredibly powerful tool for spotting those really hard-to-find patterns. And remember, just finding the flaky test isn't the end goal. It's the first step to fixing the root cause. Ultimately, using a technique like this saves a ton of time and, most importantly, it brings back trust in your automated tests. And I'll just leave you with this one final thought to chew on. We've seen how AI can be a detective, right? Analyzing clues from the past. But what if it could become a psychic? What if it could predict which tests are likely to become flaky in the future before they ever waste a single minute of your team's time? Now, the possibilities there are pretty fascinating.